There's one line in the film Ballerina that has left an imprint on my life. Those men took your past. Don't let them steal your future. That's not just good writing, my friends. It's truth. How many times do we allow what has happened to us in a moment define everything that happens after that moment? Pain has a way of echoing throughout our lives long past the event, and if we're not careful, it doesn't just affect our story, it steers it. In this film, this line, incidentally, is delivered by Winston, who's always been the calm, steady voice in the chaos of the John Wick world. During a recent interview, in fact, Ian McShane, the actor who plays Winston, spoke at length about his role in Ballerina, emphasizing his function as the franchise's moral center. His guidance serves as emotional anchors within each film. He candidly admitted they shot extra footage to ensure Winston felt more present in the spin-off's narrative, underscoring how the creative team wanted Winston's wisdom to carry weight on screen. What we quickly learn, however, is that our main character Eve hears Winston's wisdom but doesn't follow it. To be expected, I suppose, for if she did, well, we wouldn't have a movie. And yet what makes for good storytelling makes for a bad life, because while it's human nature to think we must experience a thing firsthand before learning from it, nothing could be further from the truth. We don't necessarily have to go through every pain to progress. We can instead listen to the Winstons in our lives and circumvent further suffering. Sometimes I frequently tell my son this: smart people learn from their own mistakes. Wise people learn from the mistakes of others. Wisdom, in other words, isn't about how many years you've lived. It's about whether you're willing to pause long enough to ponder the fact that you don't necessarily have to touch the fire to know it burns. And yet, in this film, Eve decides to confront her former oppressors in order to uncover the trauma of her past. She allows her need for knowledge to overshadow her better judgment, which turns out, even that carries with it a lesson, as her name, Eve, in this story isn't accidental. She's warned, in fact, during a particular conversation as she's deciding what to do, that the Eve in Scripture found her life unravel by her need to know. And yet this too falls on deaf ears. The question is why? Why can't Eve see that her decision to continue living in the past, her desire to get to the bottom of things at all costs, isn't the healthiest of options? I would contend that it comes down to this, for both her and us. Sometimes our insistence on continuing down a certain path, our hunger for more knowledge, if you will, isn't rooted in a pursuit of truth. It's rooted in a desperation to rewrite the narrative of what was taken from us. It's rooted in pain. This is, without question, what makes Ballerina so compelling. It's not an action flick alone. It's a reflection of how we respond to pain, to injustice, to loss. And in the world of John Wick, well, there's one word that echoes through every story: consequence. My friends, in the end, this is the lesson Ballerina teaches. Because you can't always control what was taken from you, but you can decide what happens next. You can choose not to let your past steal your future. This has been Movie Moments with Ryan May.